What's up? What's up? What's up? Y'all, I'm so excited for today. Not only because we get to talk about what the heck is high performance coaching? What is it across product? What is it across design? What is it across life? We are going to dive into high performance and what does that look like? Let me know also where you're coming from or if you have any big questions about growth day today. It's going to be fun. So let's just dive right into it. So, first off, if we haven't met yet, my name is Drew Bridewell, head of product and design for Growth Day. I'm also founder of Next Level UX, which is a coaching and development program for designers. I'm also a host of Practical UX Weekly on LinkedIn Learning. So if you ever are trying to learn more about practical UX tips, like user experience design, I have a whole series on LinkedIn Learning. Now, today's big focus is just to talk a little bit about like what high performance coaching even looks and also what are the opportunities for you to actually tap into get high performance coach if you're interested and where you can go today to just go sign up even for a free group coaching session if you've never experienced that. Now, I'm also going to share, and I have a couple slides I'll share about like just how I think about it, but I'm also going to share a quick little backstory, something that I haven't shared within this group or within this setting, which is how I actually got to be a part of Growth Day. And when I was working at Facebook or Meta, how I learned about what high performance experiences were and what high performance coaching is. So, we're going to start off with just talking about high performance coaching. Why high performance? Why is high performance even a thing? We can go through our lives at our current rhythms, the current flows, the current things that we experience in life. We don't have to work as high performers. But in this community, in this environment, and especially like in my history and my career, like high performance has been something that I learned earlier in my childhood. And literally, like 10 years old, I'm getting taught, trained about baseball fundamentals, about like showing up for success, about getting your mindset right, not only when you show up to do something in sports or baseball or anything that you take on, you want to show up for it, right? You want to give 110%. You want to really be there and be present for those experiences. And I think like for me, high performance is just really dialing in all the systems, all of the rhythms, all the rituals, the routines, all the things that wrap around just your life. And high performance is just optimizing those things so that you can have consistent growth and consistent well-being and consistent happiness over the long haul. Not like about going like zero to 100 miles an hour for 30 days, but then the next 30 days you're completely miserable and you don't like life and you don't like what you're doing. So high performance is also like just having a really good engine that runs your body, runs your mind, runs your spirit, and just really tapping in. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. But how do you tap into that? I think it's so important now because all the industry right now is focused on who are the high performers in the teams, who are the high performers in your company. And you can actually tell who the high performers are in your company because they're getting things done. They're doing it with excellent communication. They're doing it with excellent collaboration and execution. They're great communicators. They're great collaborators. They're great facilitators. They get things done and then they follow up and then they're ready for the next thing. It's not like chasing and it's not, you're not running and trying to figure out what to do. You know what to do because you've prepared, you can anticipate what's coming. So it's just like a really important thing, especially now with just how competitive the industry is for whatever field you're in, you have to be a performer. If you're underperforming, then there's somebody else that can come in and take your spot. Don't want to sugarcoat it because that's the truth. People that are showing up, are putting in that work, are looking holistically at everything they're doing. And it's a really important time right now, especially with this big tech boom, like just to be super aware of your systems, of your rituals, your routines, your habits. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that today, why that's important. So I think it's important now because one, wellness, like overall wellness is just a pivotal important thing that we know we need to do. It's like common sense, right? We know we need wellness in the things that we do. The reason why you're even here today in Growth Days because you signed up for a membership and you had the intention and the belief and the knowing that this is good for your body. This is good for your mind. This is good for your spirit. You're at this growth group today because you're like, what is Drew going to talk about today? I'm talking about high performance coaching today. Performance, just like you want a really strong performing body to be able to run, to be able to jump, to be able to think, be able to perform at that next level, you got to be able to dial in all the systems that help our body and our mind and our spirit operate at that next level. So we have to understand what those things are. Okay. And then the third thing here, it's important, incredibly important to have growth systems. This whole growth group series that I've been doing off the last 10 weeks is all about building better growth systems. And in those growth systems, going all the way back to reflection, to planning, to taking action, to learning how to learn through social learning and through the courses, on demand courses inside the platform, growth is where it's at. So we have to understand how we can grow as individuals and know that it is a journey, it is an adventure, and it's not just about, again, those quick 30-day wins. We got to think about the long term, think about years, to think about decades. We don't just want to think about just the now. We want to think about how we're setting ourselves up to succeed over the long haul. So in the areas that I like to really focus on, I focus on products, right? Product is like the ability to build new experiences and new innovative, like new things so that we can have a better society, so that society feels supported in different areas. So I've been really focused on learning and development and building performance tools for the last 6 years. And then also for this last 15 or 16 years, I've been in technology. So I've just been building a lot of things, but I've learned a lot and I still do high performance coaching inside of product. Also do it inside of design because I also, like I was telling you before, I teach on LinkedIn Learning. There's a lot of high performance coaches out there that do certain coaching in specific industries. So if you're looking for like different industries, you can find those and I'll help you align on how you can find those coaches and how you can get aligned with it because they do exist and it's incredibly valuable to be able to get a coach. And I'll talk a little bit too about like how I got a coach when I was at Facebook and I was building this high performance product. And then I decided that I wanted to get the extra level of support and coaching. Then I got it mainly it was more along like, how could I apply that coaching into my life? So I ended up figuring out what are some optimizations that I could have for my life, my family, my friends, my relationships. And then I went through the entire 16-week coaching program, which I'll talk to you in a second about. But those are the big focus areas. So why do I do this? Well, I want to increase the intention for anybody that I work with from a high performance perspective. I want to increase the design impact of the things that they're doing from a design perspective so they actually have value. Now, the thing is, like, even if you're not a designer, and I know some of you are not designers, the way that you architect your days, the way that you architect it for your customers, the way that you architect it for your friends, your family, whoever, you architect the design impact that you create from, you made a decision to simplify some steps in a process. You save time, you save energy, you save peace of mind. Or, hey, you learn how to communicate or facilitate or execute something a little differently that carves off like a couple days or hours from a process. That's all design impact. And you can even do that when you're scheduling a vacation. You're like, how do I schedule a vacation? What's the design impact of how you schedule and architect your calendar? And all these things come back to design, right? You're the architect, you're the designer. You gotta have to be able to know increase those and be aware of it. And then the last thing is just like elevating that life fulfillment. It's so important for me. And I think a lot of other coaches that I've worked with and I get to know, and I'm still learning here at Growth, that elevating the opportunity to feel fulfilled so that you love what you do every day. You come to work or you come into these experiences, you're just joyful and ready to get after it. I just want to exude those sorts of things when I'm in my coaching elements. And that's a super important to me. My name is Drew Bridewell. I'm head of product and design at Growth Day. If you do want to reach out to me and ask more questions about this, you can reach out to me on Instagram at Drew Bridewell, or you can go to my LinkedIn at A Bridewell. We can just chat, help point you and get you in the right direction. So how this kind of unfolds in my growth curve of like how I've got into coaching and developing and high performance coaching. So I went to Savannah College of Art and Design. Savannah College of Art and Design is an art school in Savannah, Georgia, very prestigious in design. And there, I literally started my first company, my wife, and we basically go door to door and ask people if they need a website. Then from there, when I graduated school, went to Durango, Colorado, worked in the restaurant industry. We are building, tapping into the point of sale ecosystem so that we could integrate online meal ordering and online reservations. I worked in government. Then I got into this learning ecosystem. It's learning about learning and just how people learn. I worked in big giant retail like Walmart, Target, Gap, and Taylor, Victoria's Secret, how all those big box stores design their marketing calendars and how they execute getting products and services shipped that are localized to the different locations of what sells really good in Bentonville, Arkansas is now what sells really good in San Francisco. So learned a lot about how like localization of that goes. And if you haven't used lynda.com, that was like the very first like online learning platform that was pretty next level. And I helped build and design and architect that. Coming back through, I had opportunities to ship Practical US Weekly, LinkedIn. Then I was at Facebook working career growth and performance management. I got to work with Stanford and coach and mentor their D school students. Me and my son started a show with Design with Us. So as I'm embarking on this, like this high performance journey, like we're trying to create this ever increasing levels of both well-being and external success, like over the long term. So we want to do that not only for ourselves, but also with the people that we engage with, our peer groups. So as you're looking for like your peer groups, do you have a peer group that is pushing you and elevating you, pushing the boundaries of what you're capable of doing? Or if you don't have that peer group, that's an opportunity for you to maybe tap into a coach. And if you could even test it for 12 weeks or test it for 16 weeks, you're learning, you're going to learn to tap into another elevated version of yourself. And that's what the coaches do. That's what the certified high performance coach do, which I'll give you the link after this to be able to do that. But for me, I want to practice this and not just coach it. I want to practice this lifestyle. So for me, practicing that lifestyle is like consistently is one of the big words, delivering excellence while maintaining those healthy habits and relationships during my pursuits. So it's not just about, like I said before, 30 days, get after it, but not actually build the sustained systems that are going to help me sustain this over the years. That's the key. Then the ability to do this when there's while exceeding expectations and while committing to just continuous improvement and growth. And that's the growth mindset, right? Because even though I'm sure you've already had many challenges this month or even today, and then how you take those challenges and flip them into opportunities and then turn those opportunities into things that you can take on and improve on day by day, week over week, month over month, year over year. And just knowing that you have the ability to do that and you're confident and you can go figure it out. I think that's a beautiful thing. We do this through engaging. We do this through our values and principles. We do this through our communication, collaboration, and our execution. And we do this through our own rituals and routines. Now, the whole premise of this whole thing, and we come back to you, the whole premise of all this is thinking about how do we do this inside of the Growth Day app? The Growth Day app was designed to be your home in all in one place for personal development. So when you think about, I don't know if I need a coach or I don't know if I already have what I have at Growth Day, the whole left sidebar, the whole left sidebar where you have your journal, your life scores, your plan, your challenges, your your learn experience. This is all like your hub for personal development. But when you're ready to get additional support, additional help, you can go to this URL, put it in here because I just want you all to know that it exists. It's at growthday.com/FGC. And I'm going to share my screen real quick, show you what this looks like. So if you haven't been here, I'm going to command plus a couple times. So here on this page, Brendan will give you an overview of what high performance coaching is. You can sign up for a free group coaching session, or you can schedule a one-on-one with a coach. So I'll take you back to the story real quick. I'm at Facebook. I'm building a new product that's going to serve the 55,000 people that work at Facebook during this time. What our objective was during COVID, all of our managers, the 10,000 plus managers at Facebook, needed to be able to calibrate their performers across the app, right? How do they perform? How do they do? So if you're working with a bunch of high performers, like already, like how do you do this already when everybody's already used to going in to one room inside of the office? They wall up all the windows so you can't go in and see what's happening basically inside the walls because you're trying to calibrate your teams. You have thousands and thousands of people that are getting paid top dollar to do the best work of their lives. How do you make sure that they're getting benchmarks where they need to be? How are you helping them raise their quality bar? How are you helping them grow and develop? How are you helping call out their growth areas or their feedback of what they need to improve on? So I built a tool that helped facilitate all of these things. And during that time, we also work in a remote environment. So during this time, I was really hungry for what that next version of myself looked like, right? I built products across all these big companies, but I was like ready to take on something more. And now instead of me, and I did reach out to like my managers, I asked for coaching, I asked for executive coaching, and essentially I didn't get it. They're like, "Oh, we can't do this right now. We only do this for executives." And I wasn't an executive at that time, so I didn't get it. So what did I do? So then I did my own due diligence, my own research. During the project work, I researched and found the High Performance Habits book. Then during that, I ended up finding out a little bit more about Brennan's research about high performance habits. Then I started learning about that there was certified high performance coaching. So then I got recruited to be able to go through a 12-week or 16-week program, which is, I gave you that link so you can get into that network and learn about what that even is. And then I got assigned a coach that was aligned with what I was looking for. But when I did my consulting with one of their representatives from growth from the company, I ended up getting a coach assigned to me. And then over the next 12 to 16 weeks, I went through the all of the training and all the programs to learn about the high performance habits, to learn things that I'd never expected. And that was the power of actually going through actual high performance coaching program, which I had never done before. And I never thought that it would help me as much as it did because it actually opened the door for me, started my own business, ended up running that business and leaving Facebook, ran the business, ended up growing that training program, then ended up at the time running into the growth day opportunity with Brendan. And then we ended up like jump starting growth day. Now that story it's not a very common story, but like the fact that one thing led to another through this coaching experience and this coaching, I never thought that hiring a coach could benefit me as much as it has. And now I coach every week. I got certified to become a CHBC. So you can go to growthday.com/CHBC and you can learn about the certified high performance coaching system where you can go and get certified so you can become a coach. And then we also have a coaching summit that's coming up also. And the coaching summit, see here, summit, I'm going to give you the link for that too. These are also coming in pretty quick. So like this Austin event, and then you have those other two links. There's opportunities if you're really trying to strive to get into getting coached or coach, or even just learn the frameworks of how you can get started in this coaching industry. The other major thing to consider here is that when you go into the app, you can already start learning a lot about the coaching program just by taking the high performance habits builder course in the product. So if I go to, I'm going to share my screen real quick and head over to the learn pillar. So if I go over to the learn pillar and I go to the courses, this first link up at the very top, it's the high performance habit builder course. This course has literally all the foundational elements that your high performance coach will take you through, except you have weekly homework assignments and you have weekly objectives to go through. And it's just an incredible journey to go on. What I want to do now is I showed you the links for you to go get the free coaching, like you wanted to sign up. I showed you like what we're doing in Austin September 14th through 16th as a coaching summit. That's just going to be absolutely epic. So if you're a coach or it's $150 a ticket right now. The ticket prices are going to go up. So go check that out if you want to join us in person. We'll see you live in Austin. It's going to be pretty awesome. But the other thing is, I want to circle this back to product design and life, like how I'm doing this consistently in my frameworks and my teaching and coaching, just so you can see if you're interested in becoming a coach, like how you could leverage this and how you could do this in your own sense, like in your own, career or whatever. So, all right, I'm going to share my screen one more time. And this time I'm going to share something in Figma. All right. You all should be able to see this. Now I'll zoom way out because I have this huge doc. But inside of this, when I first created this, let me just make sure I can see okay, cool. It's big. So inside of what I'm showing you right now is you're looking at a framework that I designed that captures what I walk people through when I'm doing my coaching sessions as a high performance product design and life coach. Now, I'm showing this to you because I want you to know, like, when I talk about architecting and designing your path, like, you can do this for anything. If you like mapping or like visualizing, if you like just visualizing things, you will love the tool Figma, Figma. It's a design tool. There's so much tutorials, so many trainings on this, and it's just a really helpful Figma. Absolutely. Thanks. So what I want to do right now is I want to talk to you a little bit about my coaching framework, because when you go in and you become a coach or you become a high performance, you know, human being, what you're doing is you're mastering your systems, you're mastering your routines, you're mastering your rhythms so that anything that comes into your bucket, you can either put a wall up so it doesn't get into your bucket, or you can allow it to come into your bucket and then you basically just operate and execute. Same thing. Your rhythms, your systems are always going to be in sync. That's what's going to help you keep a tempo. That's going to help you like move through this journey, this amazing lifelong learning journey that we're on. We got to keep our tempo. If you find yourself like in a stagnated experience where you're not feeling that tempo, that beat, and you feel like you're at other people's drumbeat, it might mean that you need to recalibrate your systems, recalibrate your rhythm. So, what I like to do first is I like to start with clarity, just as it's one of the high performance habits. Seeking clarity is the one of the biggest things. I like to start with. I like to start with clarity because it allows me to understand where my clients, customers, friends, family are. I build clarity with them by asking them six core questions. The six core questions that I ask them is one, I like to understand what their priorities are, what their kryptonite is, like what's their biggest challenges and obstacles right now. I like to understand what they're like, how they would identify or how they describe their identity, what success looks like for them. And I like to understand the the interactions that they want to have with people. What are the interactions that they're looking for? How could they imagine? How could they do it? And then the purpose of what they're trying to do. So six big core things. These six core things wrap up in a homework assignment. I give that homework assignment, and essentially every time we go through, we have like different call outs and different things. But I do have a very simple framework. Every week we reflect on what it is the homework is going to be about. We go into focus areas like what's day one, what's like basically day two of the week look like. We choose the focus areas and how they can improve. I typically provide tips, trips, best practices. This tip part's important because when you're doing coaching or when you're trying to help somebody learn and grow, you need to give them 2 to 3 different variants of learning modalities. You just don't want to give them audio. You just don't want to give them video. You just don't want to give them like, they need to be doing things, but they also need to be able to see it from different perspectives. This is another big giant reason why at Growth Day, we have those weekly workshops with all the different speakers that Brennan has recruited to come in and talk for everybody. Those speakers, they're charging 50K for a keynote up on stage, and they're coming live on a weekly basis to be able to coach us. So we're getting different perspectives about a specific topic. When you can see multiple perspectives and you can start triangulating all of the different ideas, things that work, things that don't work, and then you can start forming your own opinions about how you should take what you've learned and apply it to your own personal life. And that right there is just a high performance practice. Like you're taking what you're learning and observing and you're applying it in a meaningful way back to the things that matter most to you. So we get tips. And then the thing that I also always end with every week in my homework assignments is I have homework. Like you got to do it so you can reinforce the new ritual, the new thing. Same thing if you're going to come into growth day, you're going to life score, you're going to journal, you're going to do these things. You got to be able to reinforce the new ritual that you're creating. You can do that with setting reminders, daily, weekly, monthly reminders. You can do that with just setting like push notification, which you get push notifications if you set those, but you got to create that new ritual, that new trigger to get into that new reward, that new ritual, and it's going to help you. Then we capture each week with a weekly milestone that we reflect about what did we learn? What are we doing? This is like a very simple weekly framework that you can even follow just for yourself. If you're going to start something new and you're going to build some clarity, you're going to build some action, what can you do? You got to reflect. You got to choose a focus areas. You got to get some tips, tricks, learnings, get some homework, and then come in and do some reflection. This is just like one section. I have 12 of these sections, right? Goals, action planning. Now, these are really specific for product design because when just from all the research and all the homework and all the life experience I've had, these are the top 12 needle moving practices for product and designers. And it's so incredibly important that they master these things. And that's why it's a part of the framework that I created. So action planning, which is just like basically battle boarding. If you're familiar with Brendan's battle board, it's also a way for you to break down complexity in projects and anything that you need to do, be a better planner. Then we have to form our practice, which is essentially pulling our system, rituals, routines, and habits. Then we have what I call like design energy. Design energy is the ability for you to optimize the systems that help you actually create better design systems. Now, I have one of my designers actually here on the call today. And if you could think about the design systems that you create inside your team that help create the engines so everybody knows what they need to design with, they know where to go. You're creating more design energy from the design system. The same thing can happen if you have a PRD or a product requirement document or a like a keynote in the product requirement document or can be architected in a way that helps speed up the process. But if you got to analyze and look at all the different things of what all your stakeholders need in order to be able to break down so you can have faster, more efficient execution. Design energy is a way for you to also sustain that. Then it's also thinking about people get fatigued, designers get fatigued. If you think about even designers, even if you're a product manager or business owner, you can get fatigued from doing the things that you're doing every day, right? You get fatigued. It happens. When you know what's fatiguing you, like maybe you didn't get a workout in today and you're a little bit more tired. Maybe you went to sleep at 2 a.m. last night because you had to pull a late one to get something done, but it affects your whole next day. Like those sorts of things, high performers are aware of that and they're willing to go to bed early. They're willing to get the workout in. They're willing to eat better. They're willing to get their fruit. They're willing to do the things that really matter so that they can be positioned to succeed in their projects, in their work, in their, and they're aware of those things. So design energy is also about being aware of your physiology and your psychology energy so that you can move through and be at the best when you're designing. Now, the other one that I absolutely love is design clarity. Design clarity is one of these things that really sustain how your team knows what they need to build when they need to build it. Now, the thing is, we have a lot of projects here at Growth Day. We're working all the time on new things. We have to be able to make sure all of our team and stakeholders understand what needs to be done and when it needs to be done and how to talk about it and how to explain it, right? We use tools like Figma, like the one you're seeing right now. It's a very visual tool, but you could also use other tools like Miro if you're a designer or Notion. There's just so many different tools, but you got to be able to create an environment where people understand how to ask questions and how to have really incredible design clarity for what it is they're doing. Now, Matthew, Marlene, Kelly, Kapesh, if any of you are building something right now and you have questions about how could I make this more clear to my team, to my partners, to my stakeholders, to my family, to my friends. Think about how you're visually representing the thing that you're trying to do and how you're shepherding and navigating them throughout the entire journey so that they feel a part of it, but they also can ask you questions about it. So there's more clarity being built along the way. These are just examples, but again, this is an example of high performance product design and life awareness. The same thing when you go through and you get coaching, this is what you need to be working with your coach. You need to be working on these big challenging questions. You need to pull back the curtain around the things that you're really struggling with. And it's not accountability check. It's more of like an action check. You got to be able to put the actions and have this like congruence of your values, your principles, the things that you're trying to move forward. And then your coach is going to help hold you accountable. But they need to be able to have an expertise of what they're trying to do, what you're trying to achieve too. That's going to give you the edge. Design productivity is another one. Like thinking about like productivity in general is really important, but thinking about how you can do that actually with your teams is also critical. Impact is like thinking about what are we doing and why are we doing it? That this is come back to that fulfillment, that design impact of I'm going to do this work. What is it going to actually, what's the outcome going to look like? And how am I going to help document and show this back so I know that I'm actually doing well? The same thing if you go into the benchmarks, which is three on your keyboard in the app, you click this a little the dials, the third icon from the left on the sidebar. If you go into your life scores and you do your daily, weekly, and monthly life scores for the rest of the year, you'll have an incredible level of benchmarks that you can see how you're performing over the rest of the year. Where halfway through the year, you got 6 more months to show up. You got 6 more months to improve your life scores. And then you can hit a whole new level into just another level of performance going into the new year. I want that for you. I want you to feel like you're growing here at Growth Day, but you're also like getting some fresh new perspectives about how you're going to show up this year. I think this is going to be really helpful for you. All right. So we got another thing, a part of the frameworks in week 9, then we go into this purpose, like really helping refine the purpose because after going through 9 weeks of work and training and support, we got to really tap into or re-tap into, am I still following my purpose? Am I still doing what I need to do? I want to start my own coaching program. I want to do this sort of thing. That was a big part of my purpose. I really, like, I spent my entire career learning and teaching and developing. I wanted to be able to give back. And I know that some of you, like, there's moments where you want to give back in certain areas and you got different trajectory of what you're trying to do. But tap into that purpose and know why it is that you do. That helps you connect to your necessity, which is another raising necessity is another one of the high performance habits so that you know why and the purpose behind what it is that you do. Like I love so much building this app with all of you in this growth day experience because it is so fulfilling to see people growing and to see the growth of what a tool that has basically all these things that we used to have, like all over the place, like in one space. So just we'd have a one place to be intentional and go get after for the work that matters most to us. I just love it. It's a purpose that I love to connect to every single day. And I hope you can find something like that for yourself. If you need help with that, reach out to community, reach out to me. Let's do that together. The other thing that's really important for the program for that I have is around influence and courage, helping designers and product managers and people figure this out, understand what really does influence look like in product land? What does it look like in your the ability when you're showing up and you're presenting something with high levels of courage to your team? What does that look like? Are you speaking up? And then these other ones, which I think I was going to name instead of tactics, I was calling it practices now. But tools, people, and practices are like understanding, and I have some really fun visuals for this one that I typically share. But the tools, people, and practices are really just tapping into what are all the tools out there that I need to use to be successful in my role. Whatever your role is, document. I typically this is a fun homework assignment because we map out all of the tools, all the people that you engage with, and all the practices you're using to support the tools and the people. It's a connected ecosystem here. And then the last one, we do reflection, and then we go in and do the same thing over again. Now, we come back out of you. So all these things, right? I'm just showing you this. This is that was Figma, right? It's a little visual mapping tool. Inside of that, I break it out and I have different trainings for each of the sections. But the thing that I want to leave you with as we go through this is I want you to think about, are you bringing the edge and bringing that ambition and bringing that like next level awareness to the things that you do on a daily basis? Now, as a certified high performance coach, it's my job to push and to help my clients and help my team evolve to that better version of themselves. It's not about like stressing out. It's not about putting too much pressure, but it's about being so aware of what actually is going to move the needle for your team, for your family, for your friends. Just being honest about it. But you know what? Family doesn't necessarily want to be coached by maybe you because you're a family member. But thinking about if you want to dive into this or if you want to be coached by some of the greats, you should go check out that link that I put in the chat earlier. And then also, if you're just interested in like how this works, ask questions of community, get some coaching, tap into it. And I want to open it up for questions up in here. Has anybody got any questions for me? I'm doing this with you guys. Okay. So the question was, how would you advise not overcomplicating things and sticking to progress versus perfection? Oh, I think this is a great question. And you know what? Because I'm in the spirit of like design mode right now, what I want to do is I want to open up Figma. I'm going to open up a new page, perfection over, what was your question? Perfect. All right. We're going to do this together. So come back down and I'm going to bring you guys over to the right so I can still see you. All right. So here's the question. And I want everybody else too to feel free to ask questions because we got like 9 minutes. We can accomplish a ton. So for any experience, like even if I'm like coaching and I'm like, oh, I'm trying to figure this out, like complicating things is sticking the progress. So one thing that I think complicates a lot of things is when people end up getting overwhelmed, right? What actually causes things to feel overcomplicated? You get overwhelmed, which means you've got to simplify things, right? So how do you simplify things? Oh, you simplify big, overwhelming problems. How do we do that? You know, we zoom in real quick for you. So how would we do this? How would we simplify big, overwhelming problems? The first thing that I think I would do is I would do this thing that I call mapping it out. Now, you can map out anything on a piece of paper, or you could actually like literally open up a design tool. And I would probably start with the daggone problem, which the problem here in this case is like overcomplicating things, sticking to progress. Define the true problem. Now, in user experience design, you can do this by like the 5 whys. You ask, why is this a problem? Why is that a problem? Why is that a problem? Why is that a problem? Why? And that will help you get clarity around what it is. It's like the 5 whys. Then, after you have that like problem, you can take that problem and just maybe define like the problem is I look at problems too big. I need to break it down more. So in this scenario, you might be like, how do I break it down even more? So if there's one big giant problem, how can you like break it up into 3 small chunks? Or maybe it's 4 small chunks, or maybe it's 5 small chunks. And then you could focus on that one problem first, and then work to the second one, and then work to the third one, and then work to the fourth one, and then work to the fifth one. Right? And this might be like two. So you have to understand how to break down complexity because whenever like anybody's coming to me with a big idea or the big thing they want to build or develop, friends coming to me with big ideas and things, I have to take the true problem, really get super crazy clarity about what it is, and then I have to break down that one problem because you don't want to focus on the wrong problem, but you also want to make sure that you're dialed in and focused on the right thing, right? Then, because time is money, y'all, energy is everything. Same thing for your customers. You want to be able to pinpoint what it is. So then you would take that one problem and then you would break it down. How might we reframe the problem into an opportunity. So I would take this and I would look at it like, oh, this is a problem here and here. How could I reframe it so that it looks like an opportunity? So then I would have like opportunity one, opportunity two, and then I can literally write out the opportunity for each of these things. And then I could decide which one I want to go tackle, which opportunity is the most important, or which, and these could be three things that you test, right? And then you're thinking of, like, to your second point, overcomplicating things, sticking to like progress over perfection. Well, perfection is just getting caught in the weeds. But if you don't know what the true problem is, then you might be focused on you don't want to perfect something that isn't actually the problem. But once you dive in and dissect it a little bit more, this is what we call design thinking. You break down the problem, turn it into an opportunity, and then you go test your hypotheses. Or if you're doing like a new program, like I was just showing you a 12-week program. Now, all of these things I'm just imagine these are weeks. And if you're trying to create a new habit in week one, you can practice that opportunity that you just came up with in that week one. And then if it works, then you can move it over into improve it 1% for the next week. And you can do it again. And then you can keep improving it. Let's do this. And you can keep improving it over the long haul until it gets to where you want. So this is week one, week two, week three, week four. This is your month one, month two, and then maybe your month three. So I'm just trying to show you this because you can break down these things so much. And if you know what the problem is and what you're working on, then you can just slowly work towards your goals and work towards your dreams. Now, I think from a design perspective, what we typically think about, let me see if I have that file open. Let's see if I have it over here. Okay, cool. Same thing. If I have a big giant, like a whole bunch of people that I need to work with, I have teams that I need to work with. They each have different products and services that they need to build. I need to understand like some very foundational things before I can start helping them with a breakdown of what it is, what they're going to be focused on, and how we can actually make this happen. So the same thing goes, like just simplifying and breaking down the flows. Same thing if you were trying to create a new roadmap for yourself. So you're not like, oh, I don't want to like over, you can create little box patterns of how you're working through your roadmap. So if you have a June plan and you're working through all your June organization and your June strategies and your objectives for June, you can work through these things and breaking them down, simplify that complexity. The reason why I'm just showing this is like how you break down complexity gives you a superpower like no other. And just knowing that you can improve in micro moments over the days, weeks, like hours, years, whatever. But it's just knowing like we are all growing, like we are all absolutely like going through the same thing. It's just like how we look at the problems, how we dissect them, how we break down these things, how we ask for help, how we connect with the network, how we engage our teams, engage our people, engage the momentum of what we're trying to do, and then start beating that drum, get that tempo going. And that's what I absolutely love about high performance coaching, what it's given to me. It's given me the confidence to know how to break down problems, which I already knew how to break down problems. I learned that in design school, but it's given me the confidence to take on even bigger challenges. And it's given me the confidence to not be scared or fearful of failure because I know how to anticipate better from going through and doing these things over and over. I know how I can prepare better for really complex situations. I know that if I'm going to be in a meeting at the top of the hour with ten people, I know exactly what I need to bring and deliver so that I'm adding value to that meeting. And I want to encourage you as we end this growth group to think about how you are setting yourself up, even as an internal high performance coach for yourself. And think about if you need to level up in your ability to just be a better coach for yourself, what would that look like? What are some things where 6 months for the rest of the year, like with 6 months left for the rest of the year, what is going to be your next level? What is going to be something that you can stick your teeth into and figure out, like, I can do this better? And how are you going to ask for some support or some help? And hey, if you need a coach, there's nothing wrong with that. I never even thought I would ever need a coach. And it's really helped me become a better version of myself. I love what I'm doing. I love the journey that I've been on. And I'm just really grateful for this tool, for this product, and for the high performance and certified high performance coaching that I've been on. And guess what? If you want to learn all about it, you can go in person in Austin and it will light you up. $150 early bird tickets on sale, growthday.com/Austin. And you can also go to, if you want to get into a voice only coaching session, you can go to growthday.com/FGC. And then also you can always reach out to me if you have any questions as well. Where to do this. I'll see you there in person. Have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you so much for being here. And yeah, let's go. I'll see y'all in the next one. It'll be good. All right. See you.